So a quick question. How many of you like fractions? Let's start with that. No one likes it? Okay, not a problem. But even so, how many of you are still good at working with fractions? Let's say there's no algebra. Let's say it's just adding fractions, multiplying fractions, dividing, subtracting. Okay, all right. Some of you are not okay, some of you are okay. Now, what you should know is, as far as fractions without any algebra are concerned, you have two options. You could still continue to work with them manually. So, for instance, when you add fractions, you need to make sure the denominators are the same, etc., etc. So you could follow the manual method and get to the answer, or you can use your calculators to your advantage. How many of you are aware of the ABC button on the calculator? Right. That allows you to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions easily. But the main issue is in this chapter, as you'll see, we'll come across algebraic fractions, which you cannot add, subtract, multiply, or divide using calculators. So you'll see very soon, today and Thursday, but mostly Thursday, that there are some places where even though we'll have no letters, no algebra, I would stress, or I would go through the manual method for regular numbers first, just so we can look at what the method for algebra looks like as well. Algebraic fractions looks like as well. Now, within this chapter, we have those objectives: simplifying fractional expressions, algebra or not, multiplying and dividing them, adding and subtracting them. Then we get to equations, including word problems. And let me show you which sections are relevant. 9.1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. We skip over 9.4. And we don't do 9.7. Okay, a few more minutes. Let me show you the first one. Simplification of fractions. First main heading. And I am pretty sure, because we'll be starting with examples like this. I'm pretty sure, but correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that everyone here can simplify or reduce those fractions. Is that correct? Is that a safe assumption to make? If not, please let me know. Can everyone do those, manually or otherwise? Yes? What do I mean by reducing the fractions here?
In the lowest form they can go.
Yep. So in other words, we're trying to rewrite them in the lowest form. You're right. Let's take up one really, really quickly. 14 over 21. If we had to do this manually, what does that really involve?
4 over
2 over 3. Okay. And to get the answer, let's go through this really, really quickly. You need to look for a number that goes into both, that divides into both. And the biggest number that divides into both would get you the answer in one step. Can everyone think of the biggest number that divides into both? 7. Okay, so divide by 7, you get 2 over 3. And that's in, let's say, lowest terms or simplest terms or reduced form. Different ways of saying it. And similarly, you would try to do the same thing with the others. Can everyone here also, or does everyone here also know how to use a calculator to do this? A scientific one. Okay, maybe it's a good thing to keep in mind, so I'll do this here. If you have 14 over 21, and let's say you're not sure how to reduce it, you can use the depending on what make and model of your calculator, it could look like this, the ABC button. So it's useful when your fractions have really, let's say, big numbers, especially, and you're not sure how you could reduce it. And all you really have to do is type in 14, press ABC, and then type in 21, hit equals. That's essentially it. Let me know what you get. You should say 2 over 3.
You type in 14 first?
Yeah, so numerator, then ABC, then denominator. Yeah. Whatever the numerator is, then ABC, then the denominator, and then equals. Your calculator should give you 2 over 3, right? Let me also end with one additional thing, which is imagine, as a different example, imagine you had the question as 21 over 14. We already know the answer, but let's say you were to do this on the calculator using the ABC button. What do you get now? Okay. Right, you're right. So when you do, again, 21 and then A, B, C, and then 14, your calculator will give you something like 1 and maybe like this, or R, or 1R, 1R2, something like that, right? Yes? And what you should know about the calculator here, in this case, is because your numerator was bigger than the denominator, the answer it gives you by default is a mixed fraction. By default. But I want everyone to be able to, A, know what this means. This is just the calculator telling us 1.5 is the answer. But I also want you to be able to rewrite this in improper form. So in improper form, you can do this manually or, again, using the calculator. Everyone has a shift button on the calculator, right? Or second button. So if you hit second and ABC, once you have these numbers here, it'll change it into improper form. It'll give it to you as 3 over 2. Right, so I want everyone to be able to do this either using the calculator or manually, whatever works for you. But just always know that you can, when you get this, that's a mixed number, you can rewrite this into that form. You can change it into that form on your calculator. If you're not sure how to do it, let me know. But we can stop here for now. On Thursday, we'll go through some additional questions, some algebraic fractions like this, etc., etc.
Sir,